All right, we'll talk about the Eagles in just a second. But as far as the Cowboys are concerned, did they prove last night they're the best team in the NFC East?
Well, head-to-head, if you weren't, coming into this game thinking that the Eagles were a lot better than the Cowboys, you'd have to leave thinking that the Cowboys right now, because regardless of what we thought before the season, regardless of what with their injuries, teams are adapting. And right now, the teams that we see, and that's the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that I saw was a lot better than the Eagles. I don't know who the Philadelphia Eagles are. And the Dallas Cowboys, they did get good news late in the week. You could start to see Amari Cooper. They made him work out on Friday, made him go at full speed. Tyron Smith was back in the lineup. So if we look at the last year of football, when Amari Cooper is healthy and available for Dak, when Tyron Smith is healthy and available for the Cowboys, they're a good offensive football team. And you could see last night they put everything together, capitalized on the turnovers. It was a hard-hitting game in this fierce rivalry, took advantage of those turnovers, creating big plays. Ezekiel Elliott was special the way he always is in the other 4 meetings against the Philadelphia Eagles. So for me, this was a dominant performance by the Cowboys. And it was nice to see the Cowboys back at full strength, because over the last 3 weeks, we didn't know what type of Cowboys team we were going to see.
It was a spectacular performance by Dallas, and finally, through 7 weeks of the season and a few months of off-season where we talk about the Cowboys almost every day, I think I have finally figured the Cowboys out. I think I finally understand this team, and it is very simple. When they are at full strength, they can play with anyone, and they can look great as soon as you remove not multiple, just one of their potential key ingredients, whether that's Amari or Tyron Smith or Zeke, as we saw in the suspension. If you remove any one of those things from the homeostasis they want to be at, they're a disaster. They can lose to the Jets. They can be down 31-3 to Green Bay. But when we found out Saturday afternoon that it looks like, wait, not one, but both tackles are going to play. Not just Amari, but Amari and Randall Cobb are going to play. That changed, for me, some of the analysis of the game. We talked on Friday about how the Cowboys had injuries that were clustered at critical spots. Their tackles, their wide receivers, their corners. The only player who ended up missing of those 6 we were concerned about was the one corner. And Dallas, when they have their full complement of players, they can go out there and do this to you. Now, it's an indictment on Philly, and I know you said we're going to get to it. Philly's a team that I think many people just flatly got wrong about how talented are they really. But for the Cowboys, Dak played really well. Zeke, you mentioned it. He's now averaging 163 yards from scrimmage in his 5 career games against the Eagles. The Cowboys are 5-0 in those games, and they got off to the start that Philly said they wanted to get off to. Philly said, oh, we're going to take the ball. We're going to get off to a good start. Dallas, who had struggled mightily in the first half of games dating back to week 3, was spectacular in the first half, tried to put the game away in the first half, up 27-7 at the end of the half with the Brett Maher 63-yard field goal, and it was off and running. The Cowboys were spectacular and, to me, did assert themselves as the best team in the division, because who is Philadelphia?
Right, and I think we took Dallas's first 3 wins of the season with a grain of salt because of the opposition. Yes. Yesterday was against a good team. They were full strength, but it was a balanced attack that you saw from the Cowboys, and as you said, it was probably the best all-around game we've seen from them. On the other side of it, you have to wonder, we talk about this identity that the Eagles seem to not have. Boy, they showed none of that yesterday. How concerned are you with what the Eagles put out there?
Well, I'm concerned. I'm concerned about their offensive line that for, say, this 3-year window they've been in. We've always talked about how great they are. Lane Johnson, we always talk about, man, he could play left tackle. He's so good. But not only do they have Peters, their left tackle, out, Johnson's not playing well at the right tackle. He got dominated in last night's game. So I'm surprised at Philadelphia because they are very, very talented. And they're only missing a couple pieces. Deshaun Jackson, we know that he's out. But would he be the answer if he was back? No, I don't think so, because their defense is not a good defense. Their linebacking core, because they have so many defensive tackles hurt, you can take advantage of their linebacking core and run the ball against them. So we knew this defense had 2 question marks, linebacking core and the secondary. Both of those are still in question. So to me, how do they get it back together, having the deepest roster that we've seen? This year is a great example. Talent is not enough in the league. If you look at the San Diego Chargers, the L.A. Chargers, and if you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, there is no there's no one who's rating the rosters that would not have these two rosters in the top 5. But we have seen both of these organizations struggle this year. So talent this year, obviously it's not enough. Both of them do have a number of injuries, but so do a number of other teams that are managing a lot better.
I would add another team to that list, maybe not in the top 5 as talent, but certainly top 5 offensive talent, the Atlanta Falcons, which right now look like one of the worst teams in football. Like, you're totally correct. The talent's not enough. And Philadelphia might be on paper a good team, but through this season, they have given no evidence of it. I think we might look back and say, wow, the outlier event of the NFL season was Philadelphia going to Green Bay and winning. That game maybe tricked us a bit on Philly, and maybe confirmation bias as far as the team that they said they were going to be, that they could be that team. But this team, Doug Peterson's trying to pull out all his tricks. None of them are working. I'll guarantee a victory. All for the first time since week 13 of 2016. If we win the toss, we're taking the ball. How'd that work out for you? And the team... And I'm hesitant to ever level this criticism. The team's effort level seems to be far lower than I'm used to. Late in this football game, they're down 20 points with 11 minutes left. And Wentz throws what I thought was maybe his best ball of the night, the deep pass to Aguilar across the field. And Aguilar, I mean, you can see it right here. Aguilar doesn't even try for it. I mean, and on the... I don't know if you're going to catch that, but to alligator arm it like that.
At least extend your arm.
Listen, laying out on the turf, I understand it can be painful, but this is a good pass with your man beat, and he keeps his arms in.
Sometimes on TV, those balls are a little more deceptive. And to me, it looked like his gait was a little off, like he didn't want to pop his hamstring. So I can understand the rest of the team, but one play does not make a game.
Of course. No. And that, to me, was the only reason I even wanted to show was, to me, it was indicative of what I saw from them throughout the night. On the next drive, you had a player with an opportunity, I thought, to get out of bounds and get a first down and just goes down. Philly, to me, right now, they are a team that is struggling with confidence, and they are struggling to figure out who they are. And you can see it where once the beginning of that game went wrong, the 2 early turnovers, there was a bit of a waving of the white flag. They had one drive all game, and it was extended by 30 yards of personal foul penalties. They were unable to move the ball. They were unable to stop Dallas in what was their biggest game of the season.
Wasn't great, but for Dallas, who did put it all together, they did look good. So thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.